We're going to be discussing speed problems, and the most important thing you need to remember when dealing with these types of problems is that distance is equal to speed times time. This is the formula we have to know. So let's dive straight into it. Charles and his brother were 250 meters apart in the park. They began walking towards each other at a speed of 25 meters per minute and 30 meters per minute, respectively. How far apart were they after 4 minutes? So we know, and this is really important right here. We need to be able to visualize what's happening. So this diagram, you should be trying to do something like this. I prefer on paper for every single problem you encounter like this. It's just a lot easier and it makes everything more clear. So we know that Charles and his brother, Charles is right here and his brother's on the other side, were 250 meters apart. So they begin walking at each other, towards each other, and they each have their own speeds. Well, we know that Charles travels a certain distance in 4 minutes, and his brother also travels a certain distance in 4 minutes. Now, we need to find out how far apart they are, this unknown question mark, and we're just going to call this question mark S. So let's dive straight into it. If Charles was going 25 meters per minute, and he traveled for 4 minutes, because it's asking how far apart they are after 4 minutes, then we can find out that he traveled 100 meters. Because if we multiply his speed, 25 meters per minute, by the time, 4 minutes, we get 100 meters. And it's good to keep track of the units by crossing things out, just to make everything more organized and make sure you understand what's going on. So we know that Charles traveled 100 meters in 4 minutes. And his brother, we can figure that out by doing the same thing. His brother traveled 30 meters per minute for 4 minutes. So we know that he went 120 meters. So if Charles went 100 meters, plus some x value that we don't know, and his brother went 120 meters, and all that should be equal to 250 meters, right? Then we can just add these up, which is 220 meters plus x equals 250 meters. So then x, this unknown value, equals 30 meters. And that's how far apart they were. So let's go into the next example. In a park, Cindy and Betty set off biking from the same place but in opposite directions. Cindy biked at a speed of 100 meters per minute and Betty biked at 120 meters per minute. How far apart were they after 5 minutes? So once again, we have another diagram. This is the place of origin, and both people are going different directions. Okay, so how do we approach this? Well, we do the same thing. Cindy biked at a speed of 100 meters per minute, and we know she went for 5 minutes, right? Because it says how far apart were they after 5 minutes. So it's the same thing. So she traveled 500 meters. And Betty biked at 120 meters per minute for 5 minutes. So she went 600 meters. So if Cindy went 500 meters this way, and Betty went 600 meters the other way, then how far apart are they? Well, it's just 500 plus 600, so they were 1,100 meters apart. Okay, one more example. Diane walked towards the library at a speed of 35 meters per minute, and at the same time her sister Elaine returned from the library at a walking speed of 45 meters per minute. If they met 140 meters from their house, how far was the library from their house? So it's easiest to draw this out. So let's say that's the library, L, and Diane is somewhere over here, and this is her house. She's starting at her house, and she walks towards the library. And at the same time, her sister Elaine leaves the library, and they meet somewhere in the middle, 140 meters out from the house. So Diane went a total of 140 meters out. Okay, now, what we do know is that Diane went 35 meters per minute, and we don't know how long she traveled, so we're just going to leave that as some time t. but we do know that she went a total of 140 meters. So we can figure out how far or how long she was walking by dividing this, and then we end up getting 4 minutes. So we know Diane was walking for 4 minutes. But here's the thing, that means that Elaine was also walking for 4 minutes, because they started at the same time and they ended at the same time, because they met each other in the middle. So if they started and ended at the same time, they walked for the same time. So we know that her sister Elaine went for 4 minutes, and she was walking at a speed of 45 meters per minute. So still, time times speed, or speed times time, equals distance. So we know that she must have walked for 180 meters away from the library. So if this is 140 meters and this is 180, then the total distance from the house to the library must just be the sum of the two, which is 320 meters.